In our previous class, we understood different aspects of the event house. As a part of this class, we'll understand what exactly is the real-time dashboard. See, if you recollect, we are discussing about the real-time analytics as a part of the fabric, which includes different important components like event stream, KQL query set, event house, real-time dashboard, activator, and real-time hub. Within that, we are drilling down on the important aspects of these components. We completed this real-time hub. We completed this at a high level as a part of the introduction itself. Now is the time for real-time dashboard. So real-time dashboard is a data visualization tool that provides live, continuously updating insights into key performance metrics so that users can monitor the operations and make immediate and data-driven decisions. You would have created the dashboards in your different aspects of your work earlier. But as and when the new data arrives, the dashboard gets updated. Those are the real-time dashboards. So that you can take the decision then and there only. No need to wait for a couple of days or months or years. As and when the data is arrived, the data is updated in the dashboard. Those dashboards will provide the patterns, insights, or some metrics to the management so that they can immediately take the decisions. Okay, that is real-time dashboard. So in case of Fabric, real-time dashboards are powered by streaming data sources such as event house, which are continuously populated by the event stream. In a way, for real-time dashboard, the data is coming from the event house because the event house in a way stores the transformed data or updated data. That way, real-time dashboards are getting fed by the event house. And in order to visualize, we have to create something called tiles. Okay, tiles are nothing but the some part of the dashboard. Like so, dashboard consists of multiple tiles having some graphs, pictures, or even tables also. This whole setup of data source event house, which is continuously feeding the data into the dashboards, and also multiple tiles which can be arranged in a nice fashion for the patterns, for the analysis, and all those things. So this will help to monitor the key metrics in a real time. This is an example of a real time dashboard. Okay, and we will build one. Now, in order to create the real time intelligence dashboard, what and all we have to do? Parveen?
First, we need the data and we need the business intelligence tool to create a visualization for that particular data.
Very good. First and foremost thing, the data source. Where is the data coming from? And the next thing is we have to create the tiles. The next thing is we have to create the queries to fetch the data or do some analysis. The last thing is the visualization. First you get the data, then create the tiles, then specify the queries, and then visualize the data. Okay. Let us look at them one by one. As I said, first and foremost thing is to link the data sources to the dashboard. In this case, it is mostly event house. That is the first step. But when you are trying to link the data source to the dashboard, there are a couple of things. One is something called pass-through identity. In this method, basically, see, in order to link the data source to the real-time dashboard, you need to go through some authorization schemes. Authorization is to allow the data flow into the dashboard and to visualize that, both those aspects. So there are two schemes. One is pass-through identity. When I say pass-through identity, this ensures that each user sees the data on their own permissions. Let us say, when we are talking about the real-time dashboards, all the users are not given all the permissions. They may be having a different permissions. So when you have a authorization scheme as a pass-through identity, in this method, the data in the dashboard is accessed using the identity of the user who is viewing the dashboard. Only whatever the data which he or she is allowed to visualize, only that data is visible in this pass-through identity. The second one is editor's identity, means the person who is creating the dashboard. In this authorization scheme, if you allow the user the editor's identity, then immaterial of what the individual permission person has, he will be able to view and access all the aspects of the dashboard.
The second one I didn't understand, sir. The difference between the first one and second one.
Okay. The first one is like, let us say, many users are there, right? User one has only access to sales data. Let us say, assuming that sales data. User 2 has access to product data. User 3 has access to some customer's data. I'm just taking a hypothetical example. Now, when it comes to the dashboard, the user 1 is able to only see the data respect to the sales, even though there is a data respect to the product to customers. That is pass-through identity. So, here the user is able to visualize the data based on their kind of permissions they have. But the second one is editor's identity, means the person who is creating the dashboard should have all the access, right, Shabna?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, assuming that you are an editor, you have all the permission. If I am given a editor identity, I'll be able to see all the dashboard what you are creating. That is what is the second one. Okay, that's the thing. Now, moving on, the next one is creating the tiles. So basically, once the data is fed, authorization is taken care, you have to create the tiles. But what happens is, initially, before you start creating the graphs and all those things, what happens is the tile displays the results of the query as a table. Then what you have to do is you have to start working on the tiles. But one very important thing is you have to create the tiles. That otherwise, if you don't have a tiles, you will not be able to add the data into that. You will not be able to create a graphs or something into that. You will not be able to visualize that. First thing is you have to create a tile. As I already said, a dashboard consists of at least one tile which displays the results of the KQL query, which is nothing but a table. And then each tile will serve as a visual representation of the data, allowing the users to view the insights derived from the query. Depending upon one tile may give you the monthly wise sales. Another tile may give you the number of users signed up for a month. So it gives you the visual representation of the data, allowing users to view the specific insights. Insights can be the sales, number of users signed up, the profit, multiple things. As an editor, it is up to you what kind of a graph you want. Do you want a bar graph? You want a heat graph? You want a line graph? Or you want to have a graph with the GPS graph? Or what kind of a graph you want? Okay. So it is up to you. It all depends on the data to represent all these things into different visual charts, tables, or graphs based on that. So the second step is creating the tiles. The third one is query. In order to feed these tiles, you have to write the query to fetch the specific information. It can be anything. It depends on what do you want, what kind of a data you want to feed into the tiles. Then the last aspect is visualizing the data. After creating a tile, you have to define a visuals in which data is represented. It can be a map, it can be a chart, it can be any other data visualizations. So you have to visualize the data in the end. It's clear, right? It's very simple, straightforward. Now that we have done this, how to build the dashboard? What can be next? So we can think about optimization. Before we optimize the data, we can organize the data and filter the dashboard data. So like we have different aspects. Within the real-time dashboard, there are some features. You can organize the data by using pages, parameters, and also auto refresh. Let us look at them one by one. What am I talking in terms of pages here, Parveen?
There will be pages in the dashboards, page 1, page 2. Each and every page will have some charts.
Correct. So usually what happens is your dashboard has one page, but depending upon your project requirement, you can add more pages. So what happens is this allowing to add more pages will help you to organize your dashboard. One page can be related to the customers only. One page can be related to the only the metrics like how much sales we made, what is the profit, and all those things. So it will help you to organize the related content. The next one is parameters. So what happens is there are already existing parameters within the dashboards, but also you can add the additional parameters depending upon your requirement. For example, we can add a parameter specific to the time periods or subset of the data. That way, you can customize the dashboard depending on your requirement. The last one is auto refresh. What is auto refresh, Anna?
Also, since we are having live data, we must be able to refresh so that we can get the latest data.
Correct. As the name suggests, auto refresh. Instead of manually refreshing, we'll refreshing the data automatically at a certain period of time. Instead of manually refreshing or manually reloading the page, we can set the time at which the data is loaded automatically. So the editors can set the default refresh rate and viewers can adjust this rate. Basically, do you want the dashboard to be updated every hour or every 2 hours or every 3 hours, depending upon the data flow? You can update this. But let us say you have this feature now. Can we go on refreshing this every 5 minutes? Does it make sense? We should not overdo it when it is not needed. Now, we kind of agreed that in a retail project, it is not necessary to update every 5 minutes. But my question is now, Anna,
Yes, sir.
how often we have to do the refresh in the stock or equities kind of a situation?
So then we have to do it like every 5 minutes, sir, because we need the latest data.
Depending upon the project, you have to set the refresh rate. Okay. The last part of the class, we learned to build and organize and filter the dashboard. So we also need to take care of the optimization. See, there are multiple aspects for the optimization. One of the very important way we can optimize the dashboard is focusing on something called base queries. Base queries are the queries where the data from these queries are fed to the multiple tiles. Let us say you have some 4 to 5 tiles. When I say I'm saying tiles, these are the tiles in a dashboard. Base queries are the queries. These feed into the multiple tiles. So what can be done is we can replicate the base queries. When I say replicate, basically write one query which can update all the data together. So instead of going tile by tile and updating the same data from a different queries at a different intervals, what can be done is we can write the base queries. Those base queries will update the relevant records in the multiple tiles. Then whatever the additional data is required, you can write the extra queries for that. So in a way, this will help to optimize the time taken to feed the data into the tiles in a dashboard. This is one of the important optimization we can consider while creating the dashboard. Like you can reference that query by some variable name so that you can go on calling that again and again. So basically the core point is you go ahead and see in the multiple tiles in a dashboard what kind of a common data is needed and write the base query for that. That will feed the data into the multiple tiles at the same time. And any extra data is required to feed or update the graphs, you write a different queries for that because we are dealing with a lot of data. Awesome then. That's what I wanted to cover. That's all for now. Like and subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos. Thank you.